I'm going to hit the record button or ask for permission to record it. And again, the conversation today is about styles and things like that. So we're not going to get into anything too personal, I don't believe. But what I'll start with is to say, my name's Kenya. As Johanna said, I'm originally from Georgia, but I was privileged to move to Middletown, Connecticut from Georgia. I won't tell you how long ago it is, but I'm a product of vinyl tech. Also went to Middletown High, met tons of friends at Xavier and Mercy as well. So know the area well. My mother moved from Newfield Street about 4 years ago. So been in the area for quite some time and just really excited to be able to be back in the space. Although it's virtual, I'd rather be somewhere on Main Street getting ready to have some good lunch. By the way, I should also highlight, we do a lot of work at Wesleyan as well. But long story short, this conversation today is something that we're calling the Skilled Communicator. And specifically what we're going to talk about is the idea that, especially think about in the virtual world we're working in, our styles of communication, one, our own, those other people around us. And then lastly, our ability to flex, to learn how to work better with those individuals is something that's a crucial skill that sometimes can be really challenging. I will also say selfishly for anybody on the line as well, this is also a resource that I found very valuable to use even at home. And so just think about being selfish if you want. If you got sitting here for work this morning, you can also bring something back home, because I think some of what we'll be talking about is definitely apropos there as well. Maybe as a means of getting us started, and I have limited time, it's about 2 hours to work with you this morning, so I want to make sure I keep us moving. But I want to say maybe I can ask for a quick favor, and this is just style in action, but also a preference that I sometimes have. You're on the line, so I can't tell you to turn cam on or not, but we would love to see you if you don't mind turning on your cam. But I'll add, what I want to do quickly in the Brady Bunch fashion is just a quick whip. Hey, y'all, here's how I'm feeling. Quick hitter. You got about 7 seconds to make it happen. So here's how I'm feeling. And I if you don't mind, I'll run the show on this one just to kind of make sure we can keep it moving. And so just looking to kind of have you introduce yourself really quick. So I'm going to start off, if we don't mind, with I got Lori Lodge from the YMCA up top right. Lori, you mind starting us off? Here's how I'm feeling.
Sure. I am Lori Lodge from the Middlesex YMCA, and I am feeling very hopeful and blessed this morning.
Nice. I'm going to shift down to my friend Nancy N.
Hi, I am Nancy Nesbitt, and I am feeling very excited about getting this week started.
Awesome. And hey, Nancy, can you do me a favor? Maybe we could just add one thing, the org you're here with also. This is just from my understanding.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I chair the HR committee for the chamber.
Okay.
And I'm also with an organization called Goldman & York Commercial Property Advisors.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much. How about Katie? Katie C.
I am Katie Kamek. Oh, sorry. Might be two Katies.
Katie C. Sorry, Katie C. I'm sorry. There's a Katie G also. My bad. Katie C. Kamek. Go ahead, Katie.
I am Katie Kamek from Turnkey Processing in Meriden, Connecticut, and I am feeling a little bit sleepy, but also happy today.
All right, Katie. I haven't been to Meriden in a while, but nice seeing you, my friend. Awesome. How about Stephanie H-G?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Heil Grover. I'm with the Middlesex YMCA. I am tired today. We had a big day with the grandkids and Easter, but I'm feeling excited. I'm getting 3 new grandbabies this year.
I had to pause on that one for a second. All right, cool. I think we're all a little slow this morning. I had that moment there. All right, well, very nice to meet you, Stephanie. Can't wait for those babies to arrive. All right, how about Jay? J.A.
Hi, my name is Jay. I work at Turnkey Processing, Meriden, Connecticut, same place as Katie. And I am also feeling somewhat tired from the weekend, but also happy to be here, happy to participate.
Awesome, Jay. Nice to have you, my friend. Thank you for joining us. I have a Sheila from Shoreline HR.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sheila Mckinley Bell from Shoreline HR Consulting in Clinton, Connecticut. And I'm feeling a little bit groggy because I just got out of bed, which is why I'm not on camera. Maybe a little later.
Sheila, I don't know about anybody else on the line, but you're in HR, right? So I don't want to get in trouble, but at the same time, I think you'd appreciate. I've seen some interesting bedroom attire over the course of the last year. And we had someone on, we were doing a big retreat for a college, and someone forgot that they were in their bedroom and kind of walked through the house, and they had things hanging up, and we're like, whoa, where are we? So we're good. No cam in the bedroom. We're all good right now. It's all good. Nice to meet you, Sheila. Awesome.
Nice to meet you too.
How about my friend Katie G? It's your turn now, Katie.
Awesome. My name is Katie Griffin from the Wadsworth Mansion in Middletown. I'm feeling pretty energized this morning. I just took my dog for a walk and I'm excited to get started.
Awesome. And I so love that facility that you're in. The state of Connecticut used to do training there. And back in the day of Vinyl, we used to walk through there. Maybe I wouldn't say what we did, but you have a beautiful facility there. Very nice to meet you, Katie.
Very
Awesome.
nice to meet you too.
I know this name. How about Linda? Linda, how are you? Linda, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We sure can, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's good to hear you. I haven't seen you in several years anyway,
I know
think.
that.
So it was great to see your name on as the, I guess the teacher, the coach for today's program. Anyway, I'm driving and I'm feeling late.
You're good. Just don't try to look at the screen. Just keep driving. You're good. You're good. Nice seeing you
I'll be
again,
there
Linda.
momentarily and join you all.
All right, my friend. All right. Well, glad to have
Thank
you.
you.
And I like that term coach because I'm not a teacher, definitely. This is a conversation today. Awesome. How about the shift to my friend Crystal? How you doing, Crystal?
Hi, so I'm Crystal Walsh. I'm from Change Inc. in Middletown. I'm with everybody else. I'm feeling really tired today, but I'm pretty ready to start the week.
Awesome. Let's do this. Let's do that. All right, cool.
And how about that wind?
Yeah. It's been hitting us, right? The March wind.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
I know. Well, very nice to meet you, Crystal. How about my friend Jesse here? We got you muted, Jesse.
There we go. Thank you. Hi, I'm Bessie. I'm the Human Resources Director here at Liberty Home Care, and I am feeling energized today.
All right, Jesse. Very nice to meet you. Awesome, awesome. I have Shelby Knight.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I am the HR recruiter at Project Genesis, and I am feeling a little tired from being Monday morning, but ready to get started.
All right, Shelby. Very nice to see you. Yeah, well, I guess we're not seeing you, but nice to have you here, Shelby. Awesome, awesome. How about Joe B?
Morning. I'm exhausted, trying to do my timesheet, get off a phone call. I'm down another phone call, so I'm here.
Joe, we are pretty glad to have you, my friend. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to go back up to our friends from the chamber. How about Johanna?
Yes, so I'm Johanna Bond, one of the VPs here at the Middlesex Chamber, and I'm actually feeling very hopeful today because I think I might finally sign for a house. Since November, we've been searching. So yes, good wishes is what I'm asking.
All right, my friend. And then we're going to chance to close out my friend Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle from the Middlesex Chamber, and I'm feeling happy today.
Awesome, Danielle. Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for being willing to introduce yourself. Just so you know, we just had someone join us with an iPhone. I know you're muted, but if you want to actually tell us who you are, iPhone, it could be also cool if you we can rename you as well. But whoever it is with the iPhone, you want to say anything really quick? We have you in. It's just iPhone. Just came in a few seconds ago. All right. Well, I tell you what, iPhone friend, if you want to say something, we'll certainly kind of pull you in a second. But hey, why don't we go and do this? Let's go ahead and get started, if you don't mind. And we're introducing the topic called the Skilled Communicator today. That's what we're going to be focused on. So just to give you a quick heads up, I'm going to chat out again a quick little guide. It's just a quick handout that we like to use for the session. If you're inclined to say, I need a learning guide. I know in the Zoom world, you might have 2 screens up or whatever it is. So if you can use it, great. If not, it's a resource you can bring with you. The idea is that we're going to get into a conversation around communication in the workplace. So I'm not teaching. I don't see this as training. So what I want to highlight though, is if you're watching us, it's really about learning yourself so that we can better connect with others. And then once we better connect with others, we can be most effective in our workplaces. Thinking about who you are based on your introductions, we also are talking about the idea of how do we work better with ourselves, because that's something that's true. How do we work better with our coworkers? And then what about our clients that we also serve and may work on behalf of as well? So let's dive in if you don't mind. And I'll highlight that the resources that we're going to be talking about are born from the tool, the DISC assessment, the DISC workplace tool that we use. And while no one's taken the assessment today, I'm going to give you some of the highlights and insights that may be there. And so what I'll do is I'm going to get us to a quick little stopping spot, and we'll grab the people who've joined us. But here's kind of the 3 buckets: discovering styles, understanding styles, and building more effective relationships because we now know styles is kind of where we're going. So maybe as a means of getting us started, what I'd like to do is just to ask you a little bit about yourself. And we're going to jump right into an exercise. So if I ask you momentarily to just kind of identify, you can feel free to chat, you can raise your hand or whatever it may be, but let's kind of hop in really quick. The first thing I have is if you think about the way you see yourself. The research behind this tool, DISC, or when we talk about the Skilled Communicator, is really the idea of recognizing like how you see yourself in general spaces. There are some of us who tend to find ourselves more fast-paced or outspoken. One might say we like to shape our environments. You know, if it's dull, we're going to make it lively. If it's not what we need, we're going to move things around. But we kind of feel like we're more powerful than the space and we can make it what we want it to be. We don't have to ever be in a dull space, if that makes sense. Not that we're haughty or not that type of thing, but I mean it more like I can shape it. There's others who may be a little bit more cautious and reflective. For them, I guess they might say, I could try to shape it if I wanted to, but I find more value in actually maybe pausing, reflecting, and kind of seeing what's happening around. And then once I know what's happening around, I then decide how and what role I can play. So neither is better than the other, but one shapes it. The other kind of observes to figure out where they fit in. If I said to you, thinking about yourself at your best, do you find that you are better in the top scenario? You're that more fast-paced, outspoken? Or do you find yourself being more cautious and reflective? And when I say at your best, I'm not looking for you to get a grade here. It's not when I do my best work and my boss is going to be happy with me. But just like when I'm at my best, I know who I am. Which one do you see yourself at? So really quick, let's have a little fun with this. I tell you what, let's go hands up if you feel like you're more fast-paced and outspoken. If you just put hand. So if you feel like you're more fast-paced and outspoken, hands up. Okay, let's put our hands down. And then if you feel like you're more of that thoughtful, more, kind of what we call a cautious and reflective, raise your hands. Okay, all right. So we have the contrast. Now, obviously, there is always the student who says, hey, but Kenya, can I be in the middle? You better believe you can, depending on the scenario, where you are, et cetera. But just remember what you chose. So fast-paced, outspoken, reshape. Some of us also find ourselves being more cautious and reflective. If we shift gears, there's a scenario, well, how do I see myself when it comes to this second idea? And that is, hey, what do I hone in on, though, when I'm communicating with people? Like when you and I are chatting and we're interacting, what are the things that I actually connect with? Some people tend to say that the world is an unfavorable place. And by that, I need you to prove it to me. I need I's dotted, T's crossed, give me a contract. And for them, they're more questioning and skeptical. Not about right or wrong. They're just more concrete. They need a little bit more meat before they decide on things. And then by contrast, there are others who are more accepting and warm. We might say they're more relationship people, more like gut reaction tells me I'm good. Johanna, I believe you're a nice person. I don't have a reason to doubt you. Hey, we're good. Here's my house. Go ahead. Not that easy, but no. But what I mean by that is more relationship aspect. We know there's a middle ground, but if I said at your best, do you find yourself going, oh, no, I need it proven? Or are you more like, I'm handshake oriented. I'm pretty good. Raise your hand if you're more questioning and skeptical. Well, actually, for those that make, oh, Jay, are you solo on this one? Wow. Oh, Jay. Oh, okay, KDC. And you work together. Interesting. Wow. There's something about your office then. Okay, we'll talk about that, right? What about those on the opposite side who are more accepting and warm? We know Jay and Katie don't like people, so they just made it very clear. So, I'm kidding with you. All right. Okay. All right. So recognizing that there may be some middle ground and recognizing that you've had two choices. We know that there may be skews at work or not, et cetera. What I want to do, though, is ask you, when you think about your combinations, why you chose what you chose. So right away, there are 4 scenarios that you would fall into. Some are fast-paced and outspoken and questioning and skeptical. Or you might be fast-paced and outspoken, accepting and warm. Based on your 2 choices, you might have one of those 2 combinations. Remember which one you have. Then we're going to have some who might be accepting and warm, but more cautious and reflective. And lastly, individuals who may be questioning and skeptical and cautious and reflective. So generally, as you can see, we're kind of building out a little bit of a model, but there is like 4 choices. For timing this morning, I'm going to ask us to be extroverts, if you don't mind, or to put on our fake extrovert hats if we need to. And just in this first space, I'm not going to put you in the breakout rooms, but in doing a little brief exercise, I'm just eager to know if anybody would be willing to share why maybe you chose the responses that you chose. So I'm going to just do a little bit of abbreviation. I was going to put you in the breakout rooms here, but I'm going to hold that because I'd rather keep the meats for somewhere else if that's okay. But anybody willing to share? Like, I chose what I chose because. Anyone? I know it may make you all brave here, but yeah, we'd love to see anybody willing to share. Like, why'd you choose what you chose? I mean, if you prefer, I could put you in breakout room to talk about it. Anybody willing to share?
I'll share.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. So I consider myself fast-paced and outspoken because the work I do requires me to be quick, think on my feet, really juggle a lot of different priorities and projects throughout the day. So I've got to get going. I can't stop and belabor too long on any one thing. Otherwise, I'll never get anything done. So I can get going. I do sometimes speak before I think. I Delta Dunn Myers-Briggs. I'm an ENTJ. I insert my thoughts before I fully think them through. So sometimes that gets me in trouble. But in general, I'm pretty comfortable speaking about what I think about. But on the other side, I meet people all day long and I take them at their face value. My attitude is I will accept you until you prove me different. And so my first approach is I like you and I'm going to take you for who you appear to be. And we'll keep it that way unless something sours the relationship. And I would say 90% of the time I've made the right decision to be accepting and warm, and I choose to stay that way.
All right. I like it. I like it. Oh, I like it. And I love that you said the power phrase there. You know, you're good until you give me a reason not to make sure you're good. So, right. And that's so spot on. And I love that Myers-Briggs reference as well. Anyone else? Just there's no right or wrong here. Just highlights. Just want to know kind of like what your thoughts are. Like, why'd you choose your combination of your two? Looking for maybe two more quick comments.
I'm willing to share as long unless somebody else wants to jump in.
Your show, Katie.
All right. So I also picked fast-paced and outspoken and accepting and warm. And the reason is because I work a lot of weddings, I work a lot of events, and realistically, that requires a lot of fast thinking. It requires me to be more outspoken, kind of on the ball. And I really feel like I thrive best when I am fast-paced and outspoken. At the same time, similarly, I deal with a lot of people. I do find that accepting a warm actually helps me get through the day. I feel like I do accept people kind of at face value until something happens where I need to put on my more serious face, as I call it. But because it is the wedding industry, I do try to be a little bit more, warm, accepting, that sort of thing. So I think those are the two categories that fit me best and that I thrive in.
Awesome. And maybe time for one more. I don't know if we can get somebody who might say, may not feel popular, because just so you know, I expected both of those people to speak up who just did. Both of those, they're in the corner that they would be the first ones to grab the mic if we were at karaoke. So let's flip it around. Let's see if we go to the left side. Anybody else willing to share? Nancy and Katie, thank you both for an awesome comment. Oh, Jay, you like us now. Nice. I'm kidding with you, brother.
Wow. Okay. All right. My reasoning for picking the way that I did is mostly my background is mostly in accounting, auditing, and finances in general. And working with money, and especially other people's money, you definitely don't want to be very haphazard throwing that around. I like to see all the details behind things. I like to assess risk. I like to make sure that whatever is being moved forward with actually makes sense, has sense behind it.
I love it. And you might hear the power phrase in that, where Jay said he wants to make sure it makes sense, right? And I think that is such a valuable resource in any organization where you can pair that high energy, fast pace with somebody who goes, whoa. Does it make sense? And Jay, I would say to you 100%, if you had my money, yeah, I would rather you not be haphazard, right? And so there's a time and place, and we can see the value of the whole square. If you want to look at all four of the corners that are in it, this isn't about one being better than the other. So point well taken, my friend. Appreciate your comment. What I'm going to do for time is go ahead and move us ahead. And what you just did is walk through what we call the four corners of the DISC model. More or less, we actually have individuals that may fall here, 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 and here. And then there certainly are blends where you can fall anywhere in the middle or some combination. And that's what I'm going to be driving us through. To set the tone, what I'm going to do is go ahead and actually set everything up. We'll work with a quick video clip. I'm going to chat out again the tool that I share with everyone, the Skilled Communicator. It's just a quick handout. On the first page of that handout, there is a graphic that actually kind of introduces, really lets you see the model more or less. And you can use that, at will if you want to take any notes here as well. But I know we're in a virtual space, so that may not be relevant for you. But here we go. I'm going to go and advance this and say, thank you for being willing to engage. I asked you the question of why you chose this. So now what I'm going to do is introduce this disc map, have you identify your styles a little bit more and talk about some similarities. And the way I want to begin is, like I said, with a quick clip. So take a look at this.
This is DISC. It gives you a quick, intuitive way to understand yourself and the needs and priorities of the people around you. It describes 4 basic styles: D, I, S, and C. If you have a D or dominant style, you probably speak your mind, focus on the bottom line, and take pride in winning. You most likely prefer environments where decisions get made quickly and people are empowered to take charge of their work. But you may get impatient when you're asked to slow down or take a more diplomatic approach. If you have an I or influence style, you tend to focus on the positive, take quick action, and enjoy socializing. You're probably happiest in a work environment where you're free to explore exciting possibilities and share your ideas. But you might feel drained when you have to work alone for long periods, or when people's attitudes seem too negative. Or you may have an S or steadiness style, which means you probably like to do your part, keep things calm and friendly, and collaborate. You likely work best when you're part of a supportive team where expectations are clear. But if you're pressured to move too quickly or things get tense, it can stress you out, and you might have trouble speaking up. And finally, if you have a C or conscientiousness style, you probably focus on getting things right, put time into analysis, and prefer to keep emotions in check. You tend to appreciate environments where you can work at your own pace and your expertise is valued. But you may get frustrated if you think decisions aren't being thought through, or if you're expected to do a lot of socializing. So, how do you know your style? Well, everyone has a dot. That dot tells you your disc style. Your dot can also be between 2 styles, such as in the area between I and S. And your dot's distance from the center of the circle is also important. Having a dot near the edge of your disc map means you're strongly inclined toward your style. But if your dot is close to the center, you're only slightly inclined, and characteristics from several different disc styles may resonate with you. Your dot also determines your shading. Think of the colored shading on your map as your comfort zone. It helps you understand the kinds of activities or attitudes that may come naturally to you, and those that take more energy. Keep in mind, no disc style or dot location is better than any other. And because everyone is a blend of all 4 styles, there will probably be a few aspects of the other styles that you relate to. The bottom line is, everything disc gives you a new way to understand yourself and the people around you. To see past limitations, to know when to stretch a little, and to build skills that, over time and with practice, help create a culture that works for everyone.
All right. So this is just a quick clip to introduce the model, and more or less to make sure everybody's clear, you can see that we'll layer in now the disc style graphics with what we did earlier. So those that are more fast-paced and outspoken, and you have the questioning and skeptical, you would test out if you took the actual assessment. And right now we're just kind of having a discussion in place of taking the assessment, but you'd be our D or dominant style. The fast-paced, accepting, and warm would be the I style. The more cautious and reflective, accepting and warm would be the S style. And then the more cautious and reflective, questioning and skeptical would be the C style. Based on these 4, you just saw the clip. I don't want to steal any thunder from it, but just kind of give you a little bit of a visual and to give you, make this real for us. We said we're a little tired this morning, so I need to make sure I engage you here, right? So for the D style, anybody here feeling fast-paced and also questioning and skeptical? Any hands up on that one? You're fast-paced in nature, and you're more on that questioning and skeptical side. And right now, for those that are on cam, I don't see anything. You feel free to chat as well. Keeping it simple, I just want to give you 3 things to know. These are hurry up, I got something else to go do people. They want to know what, because they don't want to waste their time. And for them, results, action is the name of the game for them. So hurry up, because I got something else to go do. What are we doing? And more importantly, I need to get some results. And so they're not going to fail because you suck. And they put it in simple terms. And so the reality is these are those people who are like, you're talking to them and they're doing this or they're doing this or whatever it is, phones or whatever, because they got other things going on. And generally speaking, to have almost like I don't want a stereotype here, but you might feel like they have an entrepreneurial style to them because the grind is always real. They're always on it. Shifting gears over here. Anybody here fast? Well, we know we had some fast pace, but also inclined to say you're accepting and warm. Any hands here? Anyone who said that I was fast-paced in nature and I'm accepting and warm? So I know there are a few hands that went up with this one earlier. This is the influence or the I style. This is the hurry up, I got someone else to go talk to area. For them, they're social butterflies, or in their work, they regularly talking to people. So there's another conversation to be had. Very often what they want to know is who, because for them, people and connections are crucial. And when they know someone, that probably excites them even more. And the other thing we highlight is they don't want to be in a boring space. So this might be the person that you say, we're going to do this thing and this is who's going to be there. And they go, who? And I'm good. Because for them, from a style standpoint, those connections are huge. We also highlight that our eyes are probably known by a lot of people and they know a lot of people. And so that's another reason why the hurry up, I got someone else to go talk to may be real for them. If we shift gears, we shift now to a style difference to, instead of being more fast paced, we're going to be more cautious and reflective. Was anyone here cautious and reflective and then found yourself also being accepting and warm? All right. So this is our S corner. And we oftentimes say we're getting now to the territory of kumbaya. This is where the hugs live. They say, slow it down and let's answer the question, how? And specifically, they want to know, how is what we're doing going to really impact our customers, our consumers, my coworker, the people in my household? They really are thinking about you. They're giving of themselves for you first. They're great at answering questions, asking questions, or should I say, having people ask questions of them. And the key being great listeners. They'll give you all the time you need. And maybe if they need help, they might even say things like, I'm sorry for bothering you, Lori, but I wanted to ask you something. Because for them, they realize the people dynamic and they really want to make sure that you're good and that they're good and that we're good. Like I said, kumbaya. They will hug it out and make sure you feel really welcome. And if you need to shed a tear, you have a shoulder anytime in this particular area. Now, again, slow it down. How? They want to know and make sure that we thought through process. We'll also then move to our last area, which is the C quadrant. And here is thoughtful and cautious and reflective, but also seeing the world from a skeptical perspective. Anybody sitting there? Anybody say, hey, I need to have it proven to me, but I'm going to slow it down here. And we heard some comments earlier. I think, Jay, you mentioned in your comments as well. These are our C or our conscientious style. Here is where the magic happens, where they say, slow it down, because we want to make sure we get it perfect. I'm going to I dot and T cross and T cross and I dot and I dot and T cross and T cross and I dot. And I'm going to ask the big question, why? As often as I need to until I know what it is we're doing and we have the right answer. Because for them, a typo in a PowerPoint would cause them to lose their mind. And a typo in a PowerPoint that's yours would lose credibility, because they're going, why didn't you spell check? Why didn't you? Because this is it. The highlight for them as a C style is they have extremely high standards. And one of the things we want to highlight is that those high standards are just as high for themselves as it is for anybody else. And that's why they hold them for other people. So they're not someone saying, hey, I'm good, you need to work harder. They're like, I'm going this way. My expectation is you would do it. So if we go around again, hurry up. I got something else to go do. What for our D's? Hurry up. I have someone else to go talk to for our I's. Slow down. How for our S's. Slow down. Why for our C's. Collectively, all four come together and make an amazing team, but each has their strength that might pull us in different directions. The question that I have for you, if you take a look at the descriptions on the screen right now, and I know we didn't take the actual assessment, but if I said, where do you feel like you land? What would you say? Where is home for you? Your area of strength, your area of priority, that area that you might be there. Hey, I'm gonna, we got you, Irene, you got you. Gotcha. So so think about where you are, because our next layer of exercise, we're going to get into some groups based on those styles. But let me just share with you kind of like the way the assessment works. So you take the assessment, you test out, you get a dot, and your dot is placed somewhere, and you get the whole narrative of what it means, etc. There are some individuals, and some of you have talked about this in your descriptions, who may be slightly inclined, meaning your dot will be towards the center. And what that ultimately means is, hey, I'm a blank style, but I can easily jump between them. Then you have individuals here a little bit more moderately inclined. They're pretty true to their style. They can jump, but you'll probably go like, I want to go back home as soon as I can, is in that type of language, right? I'll go be analytical and detail oriented, but I really don't want to get into that. And then we have those that are strongly inclined. And by this, you can take this dot and take it out even further. They're more often than not the individuals who would say, here's my style. What do you mean there are other styles? I didn't know that. And for them, they're so rooted in the way they work. They're just like, no, I have to do this. And if you don't do this, there's a challenge. So for those of you that have customers, you have clients, your organization serves someone else. If you just want to put this on a little bit of a quick platter for a second, D's come in saying, I need you to do. I's come in and they've talked your ear off, and you don't even know what they need because they've still been talking your ear off. But it was so, but, or you're in a bank and they come in and they talk to you. And as you're talking, it's never about the transaction you came into the bank about. It's, you just have some great interaction with each other. The S's are those individuals who have actually, like I said, will come in and apologize for interrupting you or wanting to make sure you get what you need. And the C's are the folks that come in with the binder, and they're going to tell you who they talked to last week, and they got all the names and all the information in it, and they have all their data and their ducks in a row. And every time they come into your organization to talk to someone, they keep adding that next layer. They have their stuff. So customers look different. Our peers look different. Our coworkers look different. The highlight is these styles can come to light in many ways. Enough of that. What I want to do is have you think about where you think you belong. Where would you plot yourself? And I know that there's likely, multiple spots. But here's one last slide that I'll give you that might help you before we move to the next activity. On the left-hand side, you see what we call our priorities. And we're honing in on the I style. This is just an example from the assessment. But you'll notice around the outer ring here, there are different things that we focus on. The D style, for instance, is really, like I've already said, about results. But D's like action because remember, they're fast-paced. They also like a challenge because they see the world as unfavorable. I's, they love enthusiasm, bringing that energy. But they like action because they're fast-paced, and they like people, so they like to collaborate. The S style brings support. They're about, like I said, being that rock, the how, supporting you, but also they like collaboration because they like people, and they also like stability. I'm going to bring something that's going to allow us to stay on task and actually also know what it is we're doing for each other. Lastly, we have our C style that loves accuracy. Get it right. I.T. cross. Make sure that it's perfect. But they also enjoy stability, not having this fast-paced craziness, and they like a challenge. For C's, when they nail it and their brain power is what helped them nail it, they feel really good because they can say that my, cognitive ability is what brought this project to the win. The reality is we all have our different priorities, and generally speaking, you might associate with these. These priorities around the outer ring might help you think about where you fit as well. But notice on the right-hand side, just for clarity, no one is boxed into anything. This is not I'm an I and I only care about this, because sometimes you might be an I who has a knack for accuracy. And so what that means is it's somebody who's really people oriented, blah, 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 like an event planner. And then on the flip side of it, they can get things down to the nail and tooth because you have budgets to work within. A lot of vendors who are bringing cakes and chairs and all the details and the timing of all of that. And so when you look at this, you know, you can see that it doesn't mean that because I'm here, I don't care about this. It just, this is a scenario where this person really does care about it. And so we have those flavors. So again, the question is, where do you think you fit? Where would you land? What would be the area that you would fall into? The reason I'm asking you is because what I'm going to ask you to do is to get into some breakout rooms right now. And what I'm going to ask you to do for me as well, before we get into the breakouts, is to help me with something. First off, in your name on your in Zoom, you and I have the ability to modify it if you didn't know. What I'd like for you to do right now is tell me where you think you belong, and you could chat it, but I need your help and help me move something through a little bit easier. And so specifically, I'd like to ask for you to do the following. On the tab that says participants, if you click on it, you're going to click on that tab and you'll find your name. When you find your name, I'm just simply ask you to click on the more tab to the far right, and you're going to rename yourself. And what you'll see what I'm doing right now on my end, what I just renamed myself was Kenya-I. And you'll see that that I represents my disc style, what I think I am. What I'm going to ask you to do is to do the same. Just rename yourself, and it's your name hyphen what letter it would be. And then that would maybe help us kind of get a sense of where you are. And I see that Danielle did this already. She has CS there. If you think you're a blend, that's cool too. But again, what you're going to do is you're going to help me be able to group us together here. So again, your name, hyphen, and then what letter you think you are. And this is letter of prominence. And let's all be real. If we took the actual assessment, there is a chance that maybe our results will come out a little different, but that's okay. It's okay. What we're going to do is put you in the groups based on that particular dynamic. So that's what we're going to do here. And what I'm going to do is have you work to actually have some good conversation around this. So I'm going to create 4 groups. And what I'm doing right now, just bear with me 1 second. I'm manually assigning these. So we're going to just kind of grab a few folks from different groups. And again, what you're doing for us right now is we're going to simply ask you to grab the letter that you think you most associate with or you're most connected with. And then based on that, I'm going to put you in the groups accordingly. And then we'll actually have you actually able to work. And if you're somebody who says, Kenya, you know, I'm just not feeling any particular style, I'm not sure exactly. That's okay. I'm not going to fight you on that. That's okay. What we're going to do is give you an opportunity still to kind of work with some individuals that might allow you to kind of make some connections. So right now I have most people I think I've grabbed, but we have a few folks that have not renamed themselves. So if you're on a device and you know you cannot do that, you can let me know that as well. But I have a few people that I actually am going to just put in some rooms. We're going to assign you based on what I think will make most sense. So bear with me 1 second. I'm just setting groups here, and then we'll be ready to roll in 1 second here. I'm going to go back to our breakout rooms. Cool here. So we got most people in. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I got us in some rooms right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually ask you to, actually hop into one of the rooms. And when you get in, we're going to give you about 8 or 9 minutes. The conversation is the following. In the packet, if you have it, I think it's the second page. It looks like the one that's on the slide right now. We actually have you in a scenario where we're going to ask you to, one, get with some peers and talk about some things. First off, we're going to ask you to consider, hey, what is it that actually you think your style being the letter that you chose, what do you think you bring to the table? And by that, we mean, what are your strengths? What do you do well? What are the things that you believe your style really brings to the table? The second thing that we're going to ask you to think about is, how might your style be somewhat misunderstood? And by that, we oftentimes say your style is blank and people just assume certain things about you, but maybe they've never really actually taken the time to get a chance to know you. So the first thing is, what are your strengths as a style? And then the second thing is, how might you be misunderstood? Then we're going to ask you, if you don't mind, to actually take the step of adding, hey, what might be a motto or theme song that might be played for your style when it walks in the room. So, hey, what are the strengths that you bring? So we're D's. We think we bring this to the workplace. And we know you do different work, but regardless, what do you bring? Hey, we're I's, we're S's, we're C's. And what are our challenges? Hey, what are those things that, may yield people like misunderstanding us or whatever it may be? Then we're going to have you move to the idea of, hey, what might it be? How might we be slightly misunderstood? People think they know this about us, but actually that's not true. They really need to understand that it's more of this versus that. Before I move us, I just want to make sure I just need one favor here. I'm just actually making sure that everybody's grouped. I have 2 phone numbers that I have not been able to put anywhere. So if you land in the room and you're a phone number, what I'm going to do is actually just say to you, I'll pop in and you tell me if you belong there and we'll move you, but I don't have you haven't changed anything. And maybe because you're on your phone. So I think we're good. Now I'm going to go ahead and open these. It's what is our strengths, what might be challenges or ways of being misunderstood. And then I'll just say for the sake of the conversation, if there's a theme song or a motto that plays, what would that theme song or motto be for your style is what we're saying. I'm going to have a little fun with this. And again, if I'm going to pop into each room, but if I put you in a room and you go, Kenya, I think I'm in the wrong room. I don't feel like I should be here. That's okay. Well, we can move you. Right now I have an 860-434 number. I have an 860-526 number, which I have you in rooms, but I don't have any identity by name. And then Sheila from Shoreline, I don't have you, and Shelby also, I don't have your names associated with a style. If you want to tell me what you think you want to be, I could put you in there. But for now, we're going to actually just have you all float across a few rooms and we'll move from there. So we're going to open them. The rooms are open. You'll need to just click on the link. We'll give you about 8 minutes. We'll come back and then we'll try to talk about what our disc styles say. Interesting. So I seem to have there's one. Thank you for telling me about Greg. I'm glad I was able to.
No problem. Sorry.
Yeah. The phone numbers that came in, I wasn't sure who they were. So I'm glad we did that. There was one other phone number too. It looks like maybe from maybe corporate. It's like a 626-0000. So I was actually thinking maybe somebody might recognize that number as well.
Kenya, I just have to say, unfortunately, I have to jump off for another meeting. I'm sorry I'm going to miss the second hour of this, but It has been really helpful. You have great energy and it's helped me on a Monday morning.
Well, Nancy, that's
Thank
very
you.
nice to meet you. I got the connect, by the way. Very nice to meet you as well. Take care, my friend.
Okay.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. All right. Our next other friend should be coming back in 1 second. And hey, someone at the 526-0000 number.
You know what? I think that is
That's me.
actually, are they on? Yeah, I think they're on.
Who is it? I'm sorry.
I'm actually on twice. It's Isabel.
Oh. Okay. Isabel, you like this that much?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got, hey, so what I'll do, Isabel, are you on audio? Is that your audio?
I'm on the phone for my audio, but watching on my computer.
We got you merged now, my friend. You're all good to go. Gotcha. So that's now gone. I just merged you. You're all good to go. Awesome. Awesome.
Great.
Isabel, thank you for letting us know. So, hey, welcome back. We identified 2 numbers in that process. What I'd like to do is make it possible for us to see each other during this piece as opposed to throwing up a deck. But so what I wanted to say is welcome back. And so the conversation that we left on was, hey, get into some groups by style or where you feel like you connect. And the conversation was, hey, what do we think our style brings as strengths? What might be some of the challenges? A little fun moment is there a theme song or a motto that might exist for your style when you're walking in the room? So we're going to just do this in order, if you don't mind. Let's start with the D group. And by way of kind of aligning us, our D group, or who is in the room, was Katie, Sheila, Greg joined on the back end of that. I think Johanna, you were in there. Johanna, you were in there as well. Johanna, I'm sorry. I have a Johanna, and I'm sorry, Johanna. I got you, JB, as you said earlier. Who wants to share in your group? What were your strengths? What were the challenges? And then what might be the theme song?
I can share.
Please.
I'm gonna go with the theme song first because it's the only thing that was ringing in my head, and it's absolutely ridiculous. But it was "Hit Me With Your Best Shot" by Pat Benatar. I don't know why, but that's what came into my head, and we kind of all went with it. So that was it. I think what I find is my strengths. I think are my energy, my enthusiasm, my direction. But I'm also very supportive, and I want people to grow. I'm the one that's, let's be part of the solution instead of creating the problem. That's me. That's what I want to see. But I do know, never mind just with my colleagues, but also my children, that, I expect people to work to what my ability is, my passion, and not everybody's on that same page. So that's something that I definitely have learned that I have to work with. So, it's a flaw, but I'm learning. I'm growing, getting better at it.
All right.
Again, all right. My theme song, which is terrible, but that's what I had.
Not cool. Any other D's or any thoughts or that you share thoughts that Johanna mentioned? And ask if us all, as we're listening to each of the styles, just see what you can connect with, right? You can hear their energy, see that passion that they have, etc. But anything else from anyone in the D group, either Katie, Sheila, or Greg?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, I think that something we all suffer from is being really direct and saying, let's go. And a lot of people who don't, as Johanna was saying, a lot of people that aren't on that same wavelength can think of that as overbearing or pushy or even rude sometimes. So it's definitely something we need to, pull back from in some respect. But it is a great style to, say, let's go, let's do this thing, let's make it work. And those are kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, for time, we need to move to one of the other groups, but you heard it loud and clear. Self-reflective of my let's go might not land the same with everybody else, but really good stuff there. Katie, thank you for sharing. And if anybody else wants to share, feel free to chime in, but let's just move to some of the other groups and throw in your thoughts as you go along. Let's move to the I group. We'll stay linear. We'll go I. We have C. Martin, Irene, Lori, and Shelby Knights. And Shelby, I didn't have an identity for you by style, so I'm hoping you were okay in this group. But how do the I's want to share as a group or either individually? What do you all have?
Yeah, sure. So we're a creative bunch. We're a collaborative bunch. We're enthusiastic about what the next project is and how we can solve it. And we want everybody to sit in the room and just think out of the box and throw it all on a piece of paper, and then we'll come up with it. And we love all the ideas, and we're just kind of a crazy group that we just want to throw it all out there. as far as us being misunderstood, I think some of what it is that the folks that are might be analytical or something like that, or even the more direct folks, the Ds, this is taking too much time, let's get this show on the road. Or the analytical people are like, these people are nuts, how can we possibly do this? So I think some of the creative collaboration can be unsettling for people, and maybe we feel that way, but we do bring it back and around eventually. But I think some of the best work, we feel some of the best work is through that collaboration. So that's how we're that's our strengths and how we're misunderstood in our theme song, It's a Wonderful World.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So you can hear that. Irene, I'm at being a high I love that group that you're in. I love that you say, we'll put it on a piece of paper. And the C's are like, what do you mean? I need a spreadsheet and a chart. You're like, nah, put it on a piece of paper. We'll get back to it eventually. And you also use a phrase, we'll bring it back around eventually. I love it. I love it. Let me not derail us and be guilty of the same thing right now. So thank you.
Some eyes are driven by results too, but I think that there's a, again, I think the more collaboration and creative way in which to bring it to the end, I mean, it keeps everybody enthusiastic from the start to the finish. So,
yeah, nice. And the beautiful marriage between that D and that I is when a D can have to give the boom and the I can help them deliver it in a way that people can get into it. So we can all work well together in many ways. Irene, thank you so much for sharing for the I's. I'm going to jump down to now. Remember, those are we need to shape it. We got to go go talk to some people and shape it. Now we're going to go to we don't need to shape it. We want to kind of observe and make sure we're thinking through some things. Let's start with how. What about our S's? What do you have for us S's? Or the S style? Anybody that feels that they belong to that group? What y'all have to share? Oh, sorry. And I apologize. S's, we actually have Crystal, Isabel, Jesse, S. Clark, and Stephanie.
I was honestly hoping that one of them would unmute and talk. So
Hey, and just so everybody knows, I was going to share this a little later. This is the perfect S. You go. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go. No. Why don't you go? I'll wait for you. Perfect example. I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Thanks for throwing me out there, ladies.
They leave you hanging, Crystal?
Yeah, they completely just threw me.
It is all love. It's all love. But it's so S.
So I think that our strengths is honestly the fact that a lot of individuals feel like they can come to us, where sometimes they can't always come to the go-getters at the D's and the I's because they're always on the go, or they come off as cold and misunderstanding. And everybody kind of tends to flock towards us. And we are accommodating and we're patient, and we're always willing to listen to what everybody has to say. And then we also take all of that information and we obtain it and we see how we can kind of play it out in our daily roles or how we can help them in theirs. I do think that a lot of times that we get misunderstood in the sense of, I guess, like the lack of what we're doing. Because sometimes it seems like you can just kind of dump everything on us and we'll just do it. And we're not really thinking for ourselves in a sense. But in reality, we are kind of evaluating everything and we're thinking of ways that we can get it done more efficiently or effectively or accurately, honestly. I think our group was a little harder because we don't feel like we're full S's in our group. Fair. We kind of feel like we belong both in I's and C's. But yeah, I do think that sometimes people tend to dump things on this group because we're in the background of things. So we're getting things done, but we're in the background. So people tend to dump more projects on us, thinking that we're not going to say anything or we're not going to second guess it, and that tends to leave us not getting our duties done or fulfilled.
Yeah. Did you have a theme song or a motto, Crystal, that you talked
We
about?
didn't, and we kind of came to the realization that we couldn't think of a song because we wanted it to be right. So
okay, so
we couldn't think of one.
All right, so you had some sea love going in there as well.
Yeah.
By the way, in your group, you can see the mix. By the way, so and the highlight here, when we go to D's and I's, they both are high energy, but you can hear what they're saying. We got to get who's going to do. You might be able to kind of start differentiating. In this case with S's, you're right. SIs are going to be like, and then we can go. And the SC is going to be, and we got to get it right. You know, and you might just hear an S emoting high or an S going deeper into the work. And that's where you start to see these gap differences, because you go, they're S's, but an SC is going to see the well very differently from an SI. And so the thing I would highlight is, for all of us on the line, you may have seen this sitting in a room with S's. You may see this. And you know what they're saying? That's the dumbest idea I ever heard. Or either, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stick to doing the exact same process I've always been doing. And they're shaking their head and smiling the whole time. You're like, they're with me. So the thing we oftentimes say is, here's one of the hardest to read styles, because they're so easygoing. They're not going to rock the boat. They're going to take a hit for the team. You go golfing, go ahead. I'll stay back and do the work. Hey, you go ahead. You know, for them, it may come across a little passive aggressive because they won't say it. But we jokingly say, when you tick off an S, they're going to let it rip. And you're going to hear what went wrong 13 years ago. And y'all both started at the agency on the same day and you took their parking spot. And then the day in the cafeteria, and then this. And then they'll finally get to the issue of today. You're like, well, why didn't you tell me? Because they've been hanging on to it. So oftentimes just say with my S's, hey, what do you think, Crystal? I know we haven't heard your voice. Hey, what are you thinking about that, Jesse? Like, just give them that space, because they're not going to force their way in. Remember, the D's and I's are doing all the talking generally. So this is this area was like, well, I guess they'll let me know if they want to hear my opinion. And sometimes the S has to be stronger. But more importantly, what I really appreciate your point, Crystal, is we also owe you that, because they will just keep taking it and they'll just keep doing the work. And you didn't say anything, so I figured we were good. And that's not healthy for the team. So just know that that's one thing to consider. Great job. Thank you all so much. We got to get you a theme song, though. Sometimes a little Bob Marley or Hakuna Matata may come out for people. Just in the sense of like, it's like so natural for us. So, all right, let's move on to our C's. Let's get to our C's. And then the C group are those that identify, today is Danielle, Jay, and Katie. And so what did y'all come up with for the C style?
I'll go ahead and take the lead on this. So what we kind of determined was the C's were very detail oriented. We're very much trying to make sure everything gets done correctly, and we usually just kind of focus on like one thing at a time and make sure that it's all done properly. One thing that comes up with things like that is like, if people come over and try to talk to us about something completely different while we're working on one thing, we kind of have to like take a minute to switch gears. Like our mind is going down this track, and now you're asking us to go on a different track, and it's sort of, we need a minute. We need a minute to get off of this point of thinking, get to the next point of thinking. And a lot of with that sort of switching and that sort of personality that goes with it, we can sometimes be perceived as cold. We can sometimes be perceived as like pessimistic. And while we're questioning things, trying to get more details on whatever we're hearing, and trying to understand and make sure that's going to be done correctly. But at the same time, we're just trying to gather those details, and we're probably going to question them to say like, I don't think it's going to work quite like that. But I think it could more work doing it like this. Some people may stop hearing it after, I don't think it's going to work. And that can be seen as seen as us being pessimistic and not necessarily taking people's ideas. Whereas we're just trying to get the full details and try to guide it more in a direction that we think is more what's the words I'm trying to say here? Less like big idea and more like, how are we going to get to that big idea? I would say we didn't really come up with a theme song, but a motto we kind of came up with is sort of, we're going to question, we're going to contradict, and we're going to play devil's advocate, but we're going to make sure it gets done correctly.
Yeah, well stated. We heard in each of those pieces that you said, Jay. I mean, I think a lot of times people will hear and assume the negativity with that, but they're really asking for that purpose. We jokingly say, and just going back to circle around all four styles for a second, but we'll start with the C's. We jokingly say that they can be our toughest critic, but it's for our benefit. And I like to say on my team, my C's are the ones that keep me out of trouble most. I can go be me. And they're the ones that say, just take some notes and make sure you get these 4 pieces of information. and they can make a magic trick out of everything else I have. It's like, that's awesome for me because I don't have to worry about, coming from a place that I'm not strong. And then the flip side of that also is they're actually feeling like they're being respected. Where C's get ticked off a lot is we value them for their brain power, but we want them to be the geniuses just pull out of the hat. And they're like, I can do it, but that's not really the best way to work. The best way to work is getting them what they need and let them make it better. So thank you for sharing, Jane. But let's just do this. I was going to say jokingly, we went around the room for a second across the 4 styles. And let's just say we have to hang a picture. That's our task. As a matter of fact, maybe your strongest loved one, maybe this is a mate or someone, asks you to hang this picture. The D hangs the picture how? What is the picture hanging process for a D? And I'll just say, use me as an example. My wife says, can you hang the picture? If I'm a D, what do I do? Any thoughts? My wife said, hang the picture. I'm a D. What do I do?
You're gonna get a level and a measuring tape, and you're gonna figure out where it needs to go.
You think that's what a D would do? Hey, hurry up. I got someone else to go do. What?
I think you're gonna.
Results. I'm gonna do what, Lori?
I was just gonna say you're gonna throw it up on the wall.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, Irene, you're on it, but a slightly different style. That's the skeptical side still, but the D. You want me to hang this picture? Nail, bam.
I'm sorry, I was thinking we were still on.
You ask somebody else to do it.
My bad. So backing up, the D style. I'm sorry, Irene. So you're right. D.
Oh, D.
D is
Get it up
nail
there.
in the head,
Absolutely.
hammer it in there, go. And somebody also said another thing. A D might go, I ain't got time for this. Hire somebody to put the picture up, right? How does an I hang the same picture? Hey, can you hang the picture? What does an I do?
Yeah.
How does it look here?
Okay, what else?
Yeah,
What
we
else
just,
might an I do?
Put it in the wall and get it up there, but we have to pick the picture first.
Yeah.
Great picture.
Yeah. So, hey, when people come in, which picture do they want to see?
Picture.
We're gonna get into that discussion because it's all about the nuance of like the picture, right? And we can get lost quickly in the task. I just need you to hang it. Why are we into all this stuff? But the eyes would care about that. What else might an eye do with a picture hanging process that would be probably comical, but it's an eye? A D went
Move it around.
bam.
See
What
where
was that?
Move it around, like see where it looks best.
They're going to do that. And hey, might they also invite some other people? Hey, help with the picture.
Yep.
They make a little party out of it, as somebody said, right? How does
go.
an S hang a picture? Keep it simple. An S. Hey, can you hang this picture for me? I'm an S. You're asking me to hang a picture for you. What do I do?
I would say that you probably ask them where they want it.
Hey, where
and-
exactly would you like it?
Yep.
And we will move it until you feel like it's in the right spot. But it's you telling me where I need to hang it for you. And I'm willing to keep moving it around. A D's like, this picture's going here. Tell me where, because when I put it up, it's done. And I will go, oh, well, as long as you're having fun, it's okay. But an S is going to probably be the person that will keep moving it all day. And now I'm going to come to my friend Irene. How does a C hang a picture?
How my husband does it. He gets the level, he gets the measuring tape. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it could be a 5x7. There still needs to be some perfection to where this thing goes. Because you know what? The room's no longer symmetrical because it's a little bit over here. And they care about that. And here's the thing. Who here would complain because they did that? You might be like, right now, we got to hurry. But when you see what they put up, you're like, wow, yeah, I can do that. We just did a project in our house and my wife had the boards. I was like, yeah, I was just gonna run the wood across this way, close enough and just run it. But she had all the cuts perfect. And we went to Home Depot. The poor guy was like, oh no, I saw you coming. But it was like she had it all lined up. The highlight is in something as simple as that, we can see the styles come to life. Now I'm going to do this. You didn't come here to talk just about these groups. We want to kind of talk about how we use this in our workplaces. So I'm going to bring us back to the deck and say, hey, in a day in the life, we can see we all bring something of value. We could also be a little challenging sometimes with certain things that we might bring. And we oftentimes are misunderstood. And comically speaking, some of you say, yeah, we might even have theme songs or mottos. Maybe, maybe not. But the reality is in a given day, we might have our different inklings of style. What I want to do is give you some quick snippets of some things that you can bring with you. And the second section that I want to get into is just around this idea of how do we understand the other styles? Everything we've done at this point, I ask you, where do you feel like you are? And then we actually talked and the conversation was you and other people discussed kind of what you felt. The conversation now, though, is hey, what about those other styles? And I don't want to get us lost into the deck. I want to share with you a quick snippet. I'm going to show you a team that's in action. And I want to ask you a series of questions about this team. So again, I'm going to just kind of let us see someone else in action. We can, and very often we find that's a little easier. And then this is a great way to kind of make that connection. So let's do this really quick. I'm going to have you watch a quick clip. And what I'll ask you going in is, when you see the people in the clip, what disc styles might you think they are? So here we go.
The board wants an update on the Galaxy project by Friday.
Well, what do you think they mean by update?
It's got to mean they want the prototype. That's what they've liked in the past.
Well, it makes more sense for us to develop our project plan and set some clear deadlines before creating a prototype.
Well, is there any reason we can't do both? Actually, this couldn't have come at a better time, and I think it'll end up being really great for us. It's always been easy for me to see the bright side. So I mean it when I say that this will be good for us. I really do my best work when I'm on a team and we're all collaborating and brainstorming together. It feels like you're a part of something special. And that's pretty cool. So where were we?
Well, should we start with the project plan?
Oh, definitely not. They will want the big picture, which is why we need to focus on the prototype.
We'll look unprepared if we don't have a plan. I don't think we should just slap something together.
But what if we include some new features? That'll really wow them, right? I mean, we could whip that up by Friday, right?
People always underestimate the amount of work that goes into whipping something up. I like to plan ahead and be prepared. It's important to consider all the angles of a project and develop a sound strategy for moving forward. It takes time at first, but it's time you save in the end because you get it right the first time. There's no way we can develop a project plan and a prototype with new features by Friday.
Exactly. Another reason to just focus on the prototype. So here's the thing. I'm not just trying to get my own way. We've been here before, and I know that the prototype works. And I know that I'm not the boss. I just have a tendency to take charge of meetings, projects, conversations, people, yeah, pretty much everything. It's just I can see the path we need to take to get the win, and I want to get us there quickly so we can move on to the next challenge.
Okay, but if we're thinking of adding features, we need to talk to the other departments so that they can have input and they don't feel left out.
That is a good idea, Tom. Plus, we'll have more people on our side. I'm gonna set something up.
I think it's important to take other people into consideration before making a decision. You know, when you make that sincere effort to understand someone else's point of view, they know you care about them and that their opinion matters. And I think everyone needs that. I mean, I know I do. So I do my best to make sure this is a friendly place that runs smoothly for everyone. You know, I want to be a good teammate, so I work hard and help others out. And people know that they can count on me to get the work done. And that's what's most important. I'm not on board with this. I don't feel comfortable moving forward without a project plan, so I'm gonna work on that for the next few days.
As long as you get me the code for the new features, that's priority one.
Well, I can work on the code for the new features and update the presentation deck from the original proposal. Does that help? Would that work?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I went in on the presentation prep. I've got a few ideas how to really showcase the new features.
Sounds great.
So is everyone in on the meeting with the other departments?
Yep, I'd really like to go.
Okay.
Not me. Oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't go then. I'll help Dante with the code.
Yeah, me either. I'm gonna work on the prototype. Dante, send me the code that's already written.
All right, so we just had to take a look at a particular team. And what I'd like to ask you is just if you're thinking about what you know, what you've heard today, and just maybe based on your own knowledge of you, I didn't ask anyone if they've taken disc before, but just think about styles. Sally, woman in top left-hand corner, you can see the green there. So I'm kind of giving you the disc style, but any thoughts on why you think there would be a D? Any thoughts on why she's a D?
She's results.
She just wanted to get it done.
Yeah, about making it happen, get it done.
Charge.
Yep. And so, oh yeah. Somebody also said likes to be in charge. I'm gonna keep moving this along. What about Stephanie? She's an I. Why? What led to that for you? If you believe that or you thought differently?
She's a collaborator. She's creative.
Big time.
Yep.
Even in the end, she wouldn't have meetings with other group departments, etc. Yeah. Anybody else? Any quick thoughts?
Yeah, she saw a lot of possibilities, which is really great.
Yeah. Prospects, ideas, brainstorm, right? Ideation. Let's shift to Tom. Tom is actually, and interesting. I'm going to actually challenge something in my own deck here. Uh-oh, Jay, I'm in trouble. Here. Hey, does anybody question these letters?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I was gonna say they're
Yeah,
swapped.
and just so
They're
you know,
swapped.
I'm not sure how I've used this deck for years, and Tom, I can tell you, is an S, not a C. Why?
He was
is Tom an
very.
S?
I stepped away for a second. Who is Tom and who's the other one?
So Tom is here.
Dante.
I'm sorry. Tom is here. This is Dante. So Tom
Okay.
here is
Tom,
an S.
Tom is an S because he was trying to take everybody into consideration. He was very concerned for the entire group and was very willing to switch gears to make sure everybody was included in the best way possible.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Jay, you make me sound weird, by the way. Every time I keep hearing myself on echo. All right, anybody else on Tom?
He was very conscientious and wanted to get make sure everybody else was okay with it as well, and was trying to basically mediate between everyone.
Exactly. Even when Dante says I can't go, maybe I shouldn't go either, right? He was also a little indecisive. We always say the classic S is, where do you want to go for dinner? I don't care where you want to go. No, where do you want to go? I don't care. Where do you want to go? No, really, where do you want to go? I don't care. You choose a restaurant and they go, why did we go here? You know, that's classic S. We're just, they don't bring up their opinion about something because they don't want to rock the boat, and maybe until it's too late. Let's go to the last one, Dante, which I apologize. And again, I jokingly talked about typo. I don't know how this got reversed, but Dante is a C. Why is Dante a C? What helps to validate that for us?
Dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
All day long. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. Need a prototype, right? Need that prototype. What else?
Seem very analytical.
Yep. Knows his stuff. Very analytical. What are you thinking, Jay?
I specifically heard the word project. I need a project plan in place before moving forward.
And that's C, right? Because he's going, it sounds good in theory, but until we know, So these are styles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move you along in this team, right? I'm going to move you along. The project moves on. It's later in the week now. So now we're going to ask you, what stresses them out? What do you notice? And I'm going to have you bank this because I'm going to give you some stuff to take with you. But like, what might stress us out by disc style? So let's take a look at the team again and see what may be stressing them out. Here we go.
Okay, moving on. The other department said we need to add personalization to the new features, otherwise it wasn't worth it. So I'm thinking we add it. What do you think?
Wait, you want to add personalization to the prototype?
Yeah. Can you tell what they're thinking? Because I can't. I wish they would show some enthusiasm. It can be really frustrating when I'm the only one being positive. And to be honest, it can make it really hard to get excited about work. I get a little disheartened when we keep talking about what's going wrong and forget to focus on what is going right. I just don't feel like I can turn this one around today.
We need more people. I mean, I could try, but...
Okay, let's just stop. Personalized features is out.
You can't just decide that for everyone.
I can be pretty blunt. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just that sometimes we get stuck and then nothing gets done. So I do what I need to do to keep things moving forward. And the best way to do that is just get to the point. I don't see any reason for beating around the bush or sugarcoating things. In fact, I wish people were more straightforward with me. It'd save time. Who wants to keep personalized features? There you go.
Fine.
You know, I can't help but feel like this is my fault. I should have been more supportive. I mean, I know I said we didn't have enough people, but we probably could have figured it out. Maybe. It's a risky idea, but now I've let Steph down and I'm gonna be thinking about it all day. You know, trying to find some way to fix it.
What's next?
I know Dante was working really hard on the project plan. How's that going?
Well, I restructured the timelines and deliverables based on our original idea.
And when are we going to be launching?
In May.
Oh, no, we got to move that up to January.
January launch is impossible. Since our last meeting, I've discovered we'd have some serious problems with the code. It'll affect both the prototype and our overall project.
But you can fix that, right?
Well, yeah, but I can't guarantee it'll be ready in time for a January launch. I mean, what if we have to rewrite everything?
January is a long way off, and you'll get it done with time to spare. So we tell the board that we'll launch in January, yes?
I guess. I don't like being pressured to set a deadline before I'm ready. I need to be certain that I can deliver on my promise, otherwise what's the point? And yes, I do have high standards, and I will go the extra mile to make something really great. So, yeah, I'm a perfectionist, but that's only because I believe a job worth doing is worth doing well.
So wait, do we still build a prototype?
I really don't see the point.
Look, we can still build a prototype, even if the code is a little buggy. We'll just need a full day to do it, so you've got to send that to me today, okay?
I'll see what I can do. There's no reason to make a prototype that doesn't work. But the only way we get out of this meeting is if Sally thinks she won. And I'm not gonna get into it with her. It's a waste of time. So she can think what she wants, and I'm gonna go back and fix the code. Tom, can you give me what you have in the next couple of hours?
Of course. I'd prefer more time, but I hate saying no. Actually, I'm terrible at it, but it's okay. I can do it. I hope.
Thanks. Sure.
Okay, so prototype by Friday and a January launch. Let's celebrate. Who wants to go to lunch?
Lunch now?
Yeah, now.
Okay, sure.
I brought lunch.
Yeah, I'm out. I've just got too much to do. I'll see you guys Friday morning.
Okay.
All right, what are your thoughts? And I'm just going to open it up that way. What are your thoughts? Because we see a lot in that video, and sometimes we go, well, these actors or actresses are horrible, but this is real world. Sometimes we see this in our companies. These are the same things that happen in our meetings. So let's just talk about so the conversation is when we think about the stressors that are there, let's just keep it simple. We can speak to the individuals that are here or their styles, but just in a sense of what comes to mind for you? What stresses out Sally? What is she all about? The D, our D peers want what? And I'm going to stop sharing for a second, but I'll have us just chat. So when you think about our Ds, what stresses them out? What do we got going on?
Well, they just want to get it done. The process is just killing her. She doesn't care about the process. She just let's just get this done, get them what they need, and move on.
Okay.
And no time for lunch.
Right. no time. Hey, and it might be true to say that this person might say there's no time for lunch any day, right? But okay, what else?
I think she's stressing out the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Big time. I saw that.
Yep. A little bit of that, definitely. You think about the idea of people not being sure and kind of wondering well, can I do something or can I not do something? Because if she says no, then maybe I shouldn't do that, right? All right. All right. Anyone else? Any thoughts? Anything you might have observed with her? Or if we're okay to move, we can move to someone else.
She's just not willing to give an inch. This is the road, this is the path, this is what we're taking, period. Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move to Stephanie, our friend that is identified as correctly as an I. What about Stephanie? What's driving her crazy? Where's her head at? Any thoughts?
She feels like she's the only one lifting up the team and everyone else is being super negative, and she feels like she's carrying them all emotionally at this point.
Yeah. And which I don't know if anybody's ever been in that scenario, but that can be tough, right? Because if you're the only person that's a cheerleader and you're on your own island here, or maybe you get shut down when Sally says, I can just shut down this idea of features. It's just, you can't just do that. Well, yeah, I can. Watch this. Let's take a vote. It's gonna be pretty tough, right? Yeah. Anyone else?
All I kept thinking was that she was, all I was thinking about was retention and how she's going to start looking for a job soon.
Yeah, she's out. She's
Absolutely.
out. That's a great call. That's a great call, because that energy not being reciprocated, we might go, well, she should just get over it, right? But she might be someone who says, I need to go somewhere where I can feel like I'm valued. That's a great call. Great call. Other thoughts?
I noticed that she had said I wish I could know what they're thinking. So I wasn't sure if that was like having trouble reading people and would prefer people be more upfront with their feelings.
Well, it almost seemed like that, Jay. That's certainly what may have been going on because she probably is the one that oftentimes is misunderstood. I mean, because any thoughts on her desire to go to lunch? Anybody think that's odd?
I did, honestly, even as an I person, because I'm like, they just put like this huge amount of work on everybody and then she wants to just go to lunch. So I could see how people can get pissed off at I folks because that's the way that she's going to behave after she's, realized that this group has got a lot of work ahead of them today.
Yeah.
And in the morning, but that'd be it.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people say all over the place, like, but she's coming from her place of, this is how I do things, right? Like, I mean, I'm not meaning to be rude. I mean, I don't need to stress myself out. I got to have a cocktail or something, like, and maybe not right now, but I mean, she wasn't, skewed by whatever. And maybe other people are, maybe they are. Cool. Let's move on down to Tom. Tom was our S, gentleman in the bottom right-hand corner. Sorry. I apologize about the typo. I'm not sure how that happened, but in any event, what do we notice about him? What's stressing him out this time around?
He's feeling really bad about saying no. It really bothers him when he cannot speak up for others and really support other people and what he sort of inherently understands might be the best way to go. Yeah, definitely. And so you find somebody who's torn there, and the S in that scenario, you start seeing this wishy-washiness that somebody could say, oh, they get labeled by, but in actuality, what he's trying to say is like, hey, look, I'm good, and it just kind of comes across as a little different for him. So, and, he's a very likable person as well. So you can just imagine when you feel that sense of responsibility, it's my fault. I should have, it's my fault. So he had nothing to do with some of these conversations, but he's owning stuff that he probably can't control or even change if he wanted to. So definitely powerful stuff to kind of also think about there too. So, the idea of what stresses him out is huge. What about Dante? Let's get to our last friend, Dante. What about him? What stresses him out, you think?
Definitely being pushed.
Yep.
About to say that.
Yep. Didn't like that at all, right? Hey, you're a C. Speak to us about that. I'm pushing for time. Tell me right now. I need it right now. How does that make you feel?
I haven't had time to work out the details, and I need to be able to work those out in order to get it to you properly.
Huge, right? I need to, and if we're thinking here, if you're not a C, and regardless of all the styles here, how do I get you to be able to speak and interact and from a place of strength is the goal here? Because if you can bring your best, I'm bringing my best, our client's going to be, wow, we're going to be in a much better scenario. If you and I are both in scenarios where we're both rushed, which by the way, that's real world, right? We're very often rushed. But if we're always that way, that's going to be problematic. And that's a challenge, right? Sometimes some people in our teams are always that way because that's the way they want to work. So we get lost in like, it's only a D, I, S, or C style. We can quickly see where teams get derailed. So here's what I'm going to do for time. I won't show the last clip in the series, but long story short, they get to their meeting and they realize that there are some shifts and some changes and they didn't have a prototype, et cetera. And so they get into a little bit of a rift. But the reality is they go into a meeting and their disc styles under pressure really kick in, where Sally's a little very critical. Dante finally gets mad because he's like, I tried to tell y'all this wasn't going to work. Stephanie tries to wing it, which we I's are good at. I got it. We'll just make it work. And S's really get in trouble because they're trying to make everybody happy and everything's bubbling up and they just start kind of self-imploding there. The ultimate piece is on teams, we have a responsibility to try to set each other up for success and to try to do the things that are going to help us be set up for success. What I'll do is I'll commit, and Danielle, I know Johanna had to hop, but I'll say I'll gladly send you all this deck. If you would like the deck, you can feel free to take it. But here's what I just want to share with you, some highlights. And these are just some things that you might want to think about. When we think about understanding styles, D's, they're not going to hesitate to share what they think. They're going to dive in and let you know what they believe in. They want to make sure that things are progressing and they want to make sure we can reach our goals. And they don't want to set like weak goals and go, yeah, they want to set big goals and achieve them. So if you're in the process of growing or moving, D's are great because they're going to push you. Things to consider. D's don't like the concept of being vulnerable. And what I mean by that is they have control and power. They want to maintain that. So they're going to do whatever they can to control it. I'm not saying being rude to people, but that's what it's rooted in for them. I want to maintain and understand that. So based on that, if you hear a conflict between D's, what do you think that might sound like? What would a conflict between two D's sound like?
Honestly, I would think it would be they all both have two different visions, and each of them wants to follow that path. So it's hard to compromise between those two if they both have a certain way they want to go.
Yeah, and so Katie, let's say you and I are flies on the wall now then. What does it sound like to us when you all are having that conversation as D's?
Arguing.
Yeah. Crystal, were you going to say something also?
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of like a thunderstorm.
Yeah, it's a thunderstorm or an argument. But here's the comical part. An S might go, whoa, and I want no part of that. Two D's are done. What do?
Shake hands.
Yeah, good talk. They walk away. We're like, what just happened? Now, keep in mind, if you have two D's in a workplace and they're those visions, it's Paul and John, and they're talking about what the Beatles are going to be, and somebody's going solo. And that inevitably that's what happens. You think about some of our greatest bands. It's exactly what happened. You put disc styles on people where they start butting heads. I'm just going to start my own band. I'll go my own way. But that's when you have two D's in leadership, generally that doesn't work. There needs to be a one, the alpha, and then you're number two. It's not a 1A, 1B. It's one, and then there's a clear cut two. But in any event, it might sound like an argument, but D's would say to you, bring it, because I want to have this discussion, and then we're done with it. But what I don't want to do is have you come to me with a problem and then don't bring it. Because they're like, well, you kind of told me there's a problem. That doesn't help me a lot. So their strengths, speaking up, talking about it, moving us forward. What about our I's? We got these relationship building, keeping things positive and fun, open to new ideas and rallying people around excitement. So for I's, it's about that nice stuff, getting everything going. Two things to consider. I's love being liked. So when it comes to management, can anybody think of a challenge that might exist? We love to be liked. So when I'm managing people, what might be a challenge, you think?
Hard to give them feedback.
Yeah, especially the tough stuff, Sheila, right? I got to let you know that, man, I will shake and tremor and wonder and, oh, man, I talk around it in 9,000 ways, take you out to dinner and then drop the hammer on you. Whatever. It's just the I way of like, oh, they don't feel comfortable. So what does a conversation between two I's likely sound like? They love being liked.
Like a party.
It's a party. Yeah. And people who are listening are like, Irene and Kenya, what the heck's going on in there? And so sometimes the nugget may be there. By the way, if they had a tough conversation, differentiate this from D's for me. When two I's have a tough conversation, how does it end?
I think they're both sad.
Yeah. What are they worried about very often when it ends?
Not being liked.
Yeah. So a D goes, good talk, forget you. You don't like my idea. I'm going my own way. Like they're so grounded in that if they don't have this, they're out. Like somebody said retention with Stephanie, a D's going, you don't have to worry about retention. I'm going to let you know to your face, I'm out of here. Bam. And I'm not trying to be rude about D's. They're just that they're okay sharing their opinion that way. And I will probably walk away and there's going to be some meetings after the meetings, or there's going to be potentially some gossip or whatever. And it's just, we carry it in a way that I'm wondering, do you know if they still like me? Is there an issue? And again, based on our career trajectory and maturity, maybe this isn't the same because we've had to learn to deal with it. But very often, new career young eyes may feel that. Let's shift gears to our S's.
The idea, we'd be probably sad if the idea didn't go through or both ideas didn't go through, right?
Yes.
So
fair,
I think to your level, what you just said about maturity, I think it's more about, well, hopefully we can pull something together and make this project go.
Exactly. Exactly. We both can get it's almost like this healthy, not agree to disagree, but a win-win. And at D's use agree to disagree. I's are thinking, how can we win-win? And sometimes there is no win-win, but they still want to try to find a win-win, because that's a language we might use to soften it. If we shift gears to our S's, we think about the strengths of the S, helping and supporting, being willing to kind of really listen, showing that care and dedication. We say that S's are so cause oriented. When you get them rooted in, they're on your team. They are on your team. They got your back. So they want to keep things calm also under stress. So we think about a lot of the chief of staffs for politicians and things like that. They have their moments, but many of them also play like an S role. When the sky's falling, I got you. So thinking about S's don't like conflict. They love harmony. They will do, we've already heard this, they will do whatever they can, sometimes harming themselves to maintain harmony. Additionally, and I don't know if any other S's on the line might have a thought on this, but S's generally don't like change for change sakes. If you tell them what the change is coming and where they fit into it, that's very different. But just like a DI style, poof, let's just do something different. S's normally go like, ruh-roh, what are you talking about? Any thoughts on that, S's? And I'm okay if it's a different perspective. You're like, Kenya, that's not me. That's okay. But generally fine, that would be with S's. Any thoughts on that, S's, or anybody with a style that's similar, or any other style that wants to share? Just this idea of not liking change for change sakes and maintaining harmony.
Yeah, I completely agree with your statement.
Okay.
I absolutely hate when my my team just throws things out, because I kind of feel like if it's not broke, don't try to fix it, because then it tends to end up like bigger problems, or we're facing new issues that we really weren't prepared for.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll take it. Thank you for sharing that, Crystal. Thank you for going there. Any other thoughts on that? I know some other people had unmuted. I didn't know if anybody else wanted to chime in on it.
I totally agree. I really don't mind change, but I can't stand when it's change for just to change.
Yeah.
It turns into to me, it turns into more work and more havoc for nothing.
Okay. All right. So one other thing I'll share with S's, recognizing our time and time to start writing down our discussion, is that with S's, they are, as I said earlier, they are so inclined to have your back. One of the things we want to make sure of is that we give them space to share their opinion and make space for them to share their opinion, because they won't wedge themselves in. You don't have to worry about an I sharing their opinion because you say, I need to volunteer there first. You don't have to worry about a D sharing their opinion because they're going, I'm not going along with something that I don't agree with. I'm going to make sure I'm heard. You know, with S's, they very often would say, not that big of a deal. I roll with it sometimes. And maybe we just need to kind of like think about how we make space for them. And then I say to my S's on the line, how do you insert yourself also? How can you be more assertive? And maybe the word for S's is maybe a more aggressive, because I think that allows them to kind of push themselves. Like an S aggression is assertive. D aggression, de-aggressive is probably not good for people. You know what I mean? If you think about it from that standpoint, because S, you naturally are going to look out for other people anyway. So once you get aggressive, you're going to be like more in that assertive realm where we can, and by the way, I'm being intentionally on the extreme side of this. I don't want anybody to walk away going like, wow, those D's are really tough people. It's not. They're just like brass tacks. They don't have time for all the drama and fluffy stuff. So like it may come across rude, but what they're really saying is, I thought we all came to work. And since we came to work to get something done, why am I worried about anything but that? You know, and you kind of look at it in that way. I'll move us to time to our last group, the C style. Taking care to get things right. Calling out when something doesn't work or make sense. Tackling in-depth analysis and complex problems. And as we heard earlier, thinking things through are crucial for them. And so when you think about this idea and understanding their style, things to consider about the C's. We've already heard the potential for analysis paralysis, because they want to look at it. And if you give them time, they're going to take it. And then the other thing is the misunderstanding that they're aloof. Jay, you said this earlier, not to keep calling you out as a group representing the C group, but you said something out that I thought was earlier, was like people can assume you're cold and assume this and that. You strike me as the type of person that, hey, work-wise, you know, when I'm in the zone, I'm there, but you seem to have that bubbly personality. It's like, hey, you know me, I'm cool, but I need you to get your stuff right. And you know, that's the thing that people get lost in, right? They beat C's up. Well, you just look, I'm about the work. And here's the comical thing. Wiley, who produces the tool, doesn't have the stats to back it up, but we've made this generalization, and any C on the line, and you can agree with this, let me know. C's work really hard. What they feel like they bring is cognitive ability. Our reward for a C is to send them into their dungeon and give them more time by themselves. Because for them, that's where they work their magic. I can go and think, I can do my thing, I'm great, and I come out with a masterpiece. So I did a great job. Yeah, give me more time where I don't have to deal with people. And it's not about you being mean or not liking them. It's just that gives me more of my space. But the comical thing is, C's by the same time have been known to play really hard. So they go, I worked like crazy and I thought all day. And now you go and go, wow, who is that on the table dancing? That's a C, because they let it go because they've been in a zone where like, this is cerebral all day long. And that's what they value. And everybody's always looking for them to answer questions. So when they can just let it go, they're like, I don't have to think about this stuff. You might find this. And I didn't mean that in an inappropriate, like, crazy way. It just, they can just let go. So you might even find extreme hobbies. Like we had someone that was saying like skydiving and things like that. Technical, but let go, because they're always pent up and having to control things. I don't know if any C's would say, you willfully hopped on a table or anything like that, but I just throw it out and say that, we find that sometimes becomes one of the things that happens. Just like you might find D's who are stoically making decisions for the org to move forward all day long. And you go to the family outing and they have a family and you're like, wow, I didn't really think you had a family. Because we've stereotyped people into like being so tough and tough as nails that you can imagine them having kids, or you assume they must be a tyrant as a parent, and they're not. So we see our behavior show up at work, and we learn certain traits and things like that. But it's something to consider here. So let me just pause and see if anybody has any question. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Anybody have a question on any of that? Just style strengths or anything that may be there to kind of consider or look at? I'm good if you're good. I just want to make sure that if I could, I just make some space for anybody that has a question before I move into this last block. Got like 10 more minutes, just like quick hitter. I'm going to give you something to walk away with. Like I said, again, you can always use the deck. Greg, I got the yellow box around you. Did you want to say something?
Oh, me? No.
Okay, good deal. No, it's all good. You're not. The yellow box pops up on Zoom if you move, I guess sometimes. So I apologize. Sheila, were you going to say something, my friend?
Oh, okay.
I was, and maybe you just said this. So if you did, I don't know. I must have missed it. But
it's all good,
just,
my friend.
the point. One thing that I know, just from my own experience, is people. Well, we all have a little bit of all of it in us, right? So, but your style changes depending on your situation. I mean, I know I'm very different when I'm in, prior to having my own business, I was in corporate, and I know what my style was when I was in corporate work. But when I come home, I'm so different. I'm very quiet. I'm very, I'm thinking all the time and not talking. I'm not a big communicator unless I'm provoked. That kind of a thing. So I just think that's really interesting. And my takeaway from this is just to be able to recognize that we all have that in us, and it shows up in different scenarios or different environments, I guess.
Yeah, and Sheila, just so to piggyback on what you're saying, the tool suggests maturity, career shift, life changes can move us. Generally, you're probably rooted somewhere, like someone's gonna put an anchor down. Like I'm a high I. I know that. I'm gonna probably be in that corner. But guess what? I can start to become, like, especially my management profile, I have much more C and have much more D. Because, now you have a team now, like I have to provide, I have to do one-on-ones. Ugh. But Mondays, that's my day. We have a team call from 9 to 11. And then the rest of my day are one-on-ones. And you can imagine with all this energy, I'm like, really, this is what I got to do, but I'm learning to manage people and I'm really enjoying it. We're a small firm of 9. But it brings a different element, Sheila. You're spot on. Where at a point in time in my career before, it was like managing people, I can tell you how to do it, but I suck at it. And that, they say that sometimes the adage that most of us have, right? You can teach other people to do something that you don't do so well. And so it's just something to consider. Like if those of us that are managing, be thinking about that. And it's okay. We're all parts of, nobody's boxed in. And I've given you extremes of each style, but you have a flavor. If you were to take DISC, you would get your assessment. There's also a great resource called a coaching supplement. And the coaching supplement takes your style and it says, you're a high I, Kenya. Here are items that high I's normally rate high that you didn't. Or Kenya, here are things that people that are your polar opposite, like C's, would normally rate high, but you did. And so it kind of can speak to the fact that every individual is different. I could be a high I with all the enthusiasm and action and want some challenge and collaboration, but also be inclined to say, I really have a high level of accuracy. And I say, when we write RFPs and things like that, my team gets mad because the red pen comes out and I'm just in the zone where like I have a knack for editing and seeing things like that. I don't care about it technically, but it's something that's natural for me. Like I love organizing. Like get at home, my wife gets mad at me because Sundays when I pull out a drawer and it's a little messy, she knows that whole room's getting organized today because I can't stop. It kicks in. And I also love like folding laundry and things like that. But guess what? There's a way to fold laundry. And I know that, you know, and everybody's like, we're just trying to get these shirts folded. No, don't touch it. I'll do all of it. I'll do it all because there's a way, which is also known as the way my military mom taught me how to do it. You know, so it's just like, it drives me crazy. Now you may go like, well, Kenya, tell me the connection. Well, it shows up at work because I also may perseverate over doing it my way, doing it this way, doing it that way. So just something to consider. Well, let me share with you a few last slides, just give you some things to walk away with. This is an exercise that we sometimes will do called love, crazy, envy. And again, like I said, we'll make sure we send the chamber the deck. So, and if anybody's watching this session after the fact, you can also see this. But when you look at this, these are all like different things that you might find each style has and kind of really does really well, right? When you think about it. So when you look at it, it's this idea of what they may prefer, like, etc. So you go around the wheel, you can just see the different behaviors. And the thought is, which of these do you love about your style or other styles? Which ones drive you crazy? And then which ones might you envy? And simply put, you know, what we're getting at is, as a high I, you know, if I think about others, like people that I want to connect better with who might be C's, I love that they're really great with logic because it's just not something that I leverage. I like thinking, I like exercises like that, but it's not what I lead with, right? I lead with relationships for me. I love that about them though. What drives me crazy is their insistence on like I dot and T crossing or like data. We got to have the data to tell the story because I argue stories can tell the story. You don't have to have the data, but somebody wants the numbers, right? But that might be just something that drives me crazy. And the thing that I might envy, when I talk about envy, we're saying, and the thing about them that just seems like it's so smooth is like, sometimes, you know, you give somebody a problem and they can just see all that could be. I'm seeing the generation of ideas to make something. They're seeing like how we could put it on paper and make it stand out and all these great charts. And I'm just going, glad you're here because I would have never gotten there. And so it's just the idea that we have this about each other. So if you thought about a style or a person that you wanted to connect better with, the idea is that if we can, or wherever we can, think about what you love about their style, acknowledge what drives you crazy, and then also think about what you envy. And I know those may feel like dirty words, but the thought is about envy is, man, I wish I had, and maybe I could work towards just being better and acknowledging what they do bring as a strength, as opposed to being driven crazy by it and seeing all that's going to be a potential flaw there. So with this slide, I move to things that you can do right away to work better with the people that you work with, who may be these styles. D's, if you actually can think about it in the simplest term, they love bullet points. Get to the point. Don't take their being abrupt as a personal slight, and that would drive them crazy. Like I said this to you today, and you're still bothered by it on Wednesday. Get over it. But that's just how they work. So they too need to shift their behavior and realize that it can rub people the wrong way. But also just making sure that you get like it's not personal for them. They're going to tell you their opinions. They want to know your opinions. D's don't want yes men and women on their teams. They want to know what you really think. And by the way, if you disagree, call it out, because what will frustrate them more is for you to say yes and then disagree later, or say yes and then don't do what you said yes to. So just bullet point it, get to the point, share your opinion, let them know what you're thinking, and then also make space for the same. You'll see this balancing time, taking time and making progress. They also don't want to get bogged down in process that presents us moving forward. I's all about relationships. If you're doing a performance review, you're meeting them for the first time, they're a client coming in, etc., whatever. We always say, make it casual. You're going to probably get better impact with them. I don't send my eyes to my office and say, I'll be in a second, and have them kind of go like, what's going on? Hey, let's grab a cup of coffee and take a walk. That's my line. You know, let's do something. We're basically, it's a casual conversation because they're going to appreciate they're going to want to talk. So you got to hear them out, support them, and also question their ideas. If we come with this isn't going to work, or I think somebody said earlier, they only hear the blah, 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 blah. They don't hear the what you're going to offer as a solution on the opposite side of it. Just be careful here, because they'll see this as being beat up. ask for time to think things through as well with them. And this last bullet is important because we I's are going to come in to try to sell you and want you to move now. And if you don't move now, we're going, oh man, I failed. Or why are they so slow? They don't like me. You're like, no, I just need some time to think about all that stuff you just gave me for the first time with all those words and all that energy. And I'm just not going to move in the same pace. So let them know that. And sometimes what's nice with I's is to say, we're going to have this meeting. Just so you know, I'm going to want to think about what it is you've given me, and I'll get back to you by end of day. That way they know they're not coming in with the instant gratification world we live in to get an answer right now. You're just setting yourself up for success and them up for success so they know what they expect. Moving to our S style, here's some tips for them. You know, collaborative approach is huge. They're all about us. By the way, when it comes to rewarding S's, they generally do not like public praise. They tend to be the team did a great job. Hey, Crystal, I really appreciate the work you and your team did. And I really want to thank you for guiding the team. That's a one-on-one conversation. And they feel so much better because for them, it was about the team. But when you praise them, you made it about them and they kind of duck. I's, we might go, hey, you see the statues on the wall? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. D's might go, show me the cash. Give me the power. You want to reward me? Show me you reward me. You appreciate what I did. But S's are not that style. They don't want that. So checking in, sharing those updates, get their voices heard. Consider how what you're doing will impact other people. That's going to be big for them. And when you show that, they're huge. Another comical thing I say with S's, I grew up in Georgia. I throw out that we have cookouts and hot food or whatever it is. S's are the people that always say, I'm bringing the napkins. And they're going to bring the alternative meal for somebody who didn't like meat and ribs, right? That's what they are. So encourage them to take those risks and push them as well. Last slide for our C's, give them background information. They may prefer the executive summary and the whole doc, but they want to know what it is they're getting into. Don't give them a snippet to get the yes and then tell them something later because you'll drive them crazy. Make clear, fact-based arguments. C's, you might agree. I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, but I'll say gently, all that emotion and how you feel, that's awesome. But what does the data say? What do the facts say? You know, they can help you take your feelings and match the facts and do something, but don't just lead with feelings and leave out the facts. Give them a space. And again, don't take that reserve them as something that is personal as well. So I know we're at 11 o'clock, so I got to get you off the line, but you've been awesome as an audience. But I just want to throw out, when it comes to DISC, remember, you want to have a well-balanced team, and that is different styles being represented. I'll also back up and say you want to make sure you know who you are by style. And you would just give me a little bit of a snippet to think about today. The most effective skilled communicators also learn who the people are they're communicating with and then try their best to do what we call flexing. I want to walk into a space and do what I can when I talk to Jessie to be more her style so that Jessie can say, hey, Kenya, I'll try to meet you halfway and be more your style. And Jessie and I meet in the middle and we're going to communicate better. Otherwise, if it's me versus you or you versus I, whatever it is, we keep going back and forth and we pull each other and that's not effective. So with that said, I can hang a few minutes if anybody has any questions in particular. We'll get you the deck in a PDF format for you to have. Regretfully, I can't share the video. I can't give you the videos. They're proprietary information from the Wiley, the tool that owns it, but we can certainly get you all the content you have here. But let me just say, thank you for joining us. And I hope we've given you something to just be able to think about as at a minimum that you might be able to leverage and use. Know yourself. Know the other styles, leverage that to actually work better with the styles. So I'll stop sharing at this point and just see if anybody has any question or any comment you want to make. I appreciate the kind words on the chat. More importantly, thank you all for being a great audience on this beautiful Monday morning. So I'll pause here and just say, anybody with any questions?
I'll just say thanks so much. This was great.
All right, Irene, thank you so much. As a fellow I really appreciate you sharing and your engagement, my friend. Awesome.
Good to see my friends on the call too. Bye, guys.
It's always the fun part, right? You get a chance to connect with some old buddies. So it's good stuff.
That's it. Looks like we're having a party.
You're not at work, right? All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. And whatever you do for the rest of the day, do it well and crush it. And as they say, stay positive, test negative. Everybody be well. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.